Endura Tarantula body on top of a Trx4m. Wanted to make this video because I could not find a video when I did this, and this might help some people if you decide to do it. Just allows it to have a different shell, which would look something kind of like this, which is basically, this is the little Defender 1/18 scale Trx4m. And basically what has been done to this, because I know there was nothing out there when I did this, this has a Maximus 2-speed transmission in it. So it has a high and a low speed that you can switch on the fly, which is pretty neat. So the low speed is ridiculously slow, and the high speed is just fast enough for like walking. So this would be its higher speed, pretty quick, and then the low speed we still have that nice control if we need, and then it goes in reverse, which most cars do that. The way that is done in this car, which is going to be kind of hard to see, but inside there I have a 3 max, basically mini servo, and all it's doing is just shifting the Maximus transmission mount, and it's pulling a linkage out at the bottom, which is kind of hard to see. The Maximus 2-speed transmission also comes with the skid plate, which is helpful, so you don't really have to deal with that. And the Tarantula body fits in there nice and comfortably, very well, very well. What I've also done to this, because most people might want this, there is another Enduro steering servo 7 keg. Basically worked pretty good. It's a little underpowered, like if you get this really in a bind it won't work very well. Enduro axle housings, and then everything else is brass, all Enduro. This is basically an Enduro drivetrain besides the 2-speed transmission front and rear. It is running 70mm swamp coils on it. They work pretty good out here. They don't do so well when you're in axle like dirt, in my opinion. They just dig holes compared to like these, which I forgot what these were called. These are, I don't know. These tires work a lot better in sand than the swamp claws because they just dig holes, in my opinion. But when you get on rocks, these shine. They're like literally the best. It has a different remote. It is a transmitter from Dumbbellwork. I don't know how to pronounce that. Needless to say, it works great. It does everything you need to, and it allows you to have enough channel servos. I believe this is the one with the gyro thing, but you can just turn it off. The car itself is also running some 59mm shocks front and rear, which allows it to get to about like 3 inches of flex before it picks up off the ground. It works pretty well. They have no oil in them. Well, they have like a little bit so that they slide, but there's no oil in them because I want it to sit as low as possible, which works pretty well. Allows it to have a nice low stance for good hill climbing. This thing will get about 82 degrees before it will actually tip backwards when you're on a hill climb or something like that, and then it'll fall over. But it works pretty well. Descending, it's got a lot of weight up front, so you got to kind of have to go slow. The only thing I don't like is the axles have slop, so I'll have to figure that out. There's just a lot of in-between slop, in my opinion. Brass links, they don't really weigh too much, in my opinion, but they help. High clearance, definitely the way to go, because this gets hung up on the belly pan as a lot, as you can see. This has a, what is this? A Endura MB100 brushless mini ESC at 20A. Works good. The only negative, in my opinion, is when you go to reverse, it only uses like 40% of its power, basically, and it does not give you full punch reverse. That's the only downside to that, but other than that, it gives you great power overall, in my opinion. This is running a, oh, hey, look, the bottom of the motor. It is a 180 87 tooth turn by Maximus. So it has a huge battery pack, which would be a 2-cell LiPo battery pack. That's 1300. I don't know what the next big thing is for that, but it's running 1300, I want to say amps. I don't think that's right. Needless to say, it's too big. It gives me basically 2.5 hours of runtime, and I'll keep up with one of those batteries for a TRX4 over there. Too much battery, basically, and I have 4 of these things. So this, in theory, can run all day. The motor does not overheat, which I have found, which is helpful, because that one will get very warm because that's like way under geared, but we don't worry about that. So it does pretty good. And what else is on here? This is just an enduro car. It's the best way to describe it. Built from scratch. It didn't start out as a kit or something like this. It didn't come as a little Defender or something. So just built it from scratch. In the future, we'll be getting rear steer, which is coming soon. So I might do a quick video on that. Stock gearing, no overdrive in the front. Kind of wish I needed to do that because it needs a little bit of it pulling it down. Front needs to be a little overdrived. And I'll do that in the future. So nice and clean, tucked up. The actual turning on and off is velcroed to the roof, and then everything else is down low. So your receiver's in here, the antenna wire is all wrapped up, and then the battery I have nice and tucked in the side. So works out pretty good. And yeah, the whole car in total, because I know some people are interested in that, is weighing in at 754 grams. So it's gone through some changes. When I first got it and completed it, it was like 676 grams, and it didn't have enough weight because the front end, anytime you would go up a hill, it just like fall back. So hopefully this video helpful to somebody out there who wants to build one of these, because these are sweet little cars. They basically take your little Trx4m to the next level, because in theory you have no bumper to deal with and things like that. You don't have things that get caught up in the rear. You don't have to have the weight problem where you can't lean more than like 30 degrees and fall over. But I don't know, this one's pretty neat. It has a little fake winch in it. So you could pull yourself, but we don't worry about that. So yes, hopefully this video is helpful for somebody out there who wants to build the Tarantula body. What I do know is if you take one of these and you just switch it over, literally all these parts just switch into there. So basically all you do is you just take the shell off of this thing, of one of these, and then basically it mounts directly down into the skid plate and just bolts on, because that's how this is done. Bolts to the skid plate and then it's on there. So hopefully this is helpful to somebody. It might not be. If so, leave a comment.